Hello, guys, and we are live. Today, I have my good friend Staci from all the way from San Antonio, Texas. And I normally do introductions on guests, but I feel like we should get in that in a minute because Staci and I were having a good conversation about Dallas before we started. It's her birthday, so we're going to start the stream a little bit different. So, Staci, officially on live, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. We were just talking about how much fun it is to have a birthday when you're past 50. And I am not shy about it. I'm 53, best years of my life. I say to my husband every day, these are the good old days. This is amazing. We get to go wherever we want to go. We can eat whatever we want to eat. It's amazing.
Can you show everybody your little background that you have there with your cats with the hats on?
So I came in this morning and my door to my office was closed. And so I knew they had done silly things, but they decorated my office and they had this like giant banner of cats, laughing cats. And, it's just awesome. When you work with people that you really jive with, I think that makes the workplace so much more fun. You don't have to be friends outside of the workplace. I've determined that that's a really important thing to realize as you're a professional, that as long as you really gel at the workplace, it doesn't have to extend to your personal life. And in many ways, it shouldn't, because you need that separation. And then if you ever leave an organization, you feel sort of stripped of all your friends. But I think your work life balance is so important. Back to they know that I'm obsessed with cats, and I have these giant Maine Coon cats in my house that I talk about way too much. And so I like that they know that about me, but at the same time, we can close the door at 5 o'clock in the evening and go to our own lives. So that's really fun.
Absolutely. I've been thinking about that a lot recently, just dealing with different situations. And whenever you are friends with your staff or with your employees, it gets a little dicey, especially whenever you do have to lay down the law in some regards or direct different things happening within a business. It can get a little dicey if people are your friends. So I think that there is a healthy like coworker friend versus friend
Oh,
friend.
I agree. And it's like lessons learned every moment of my life, each season of my professional career, it's like, okay, lessons learned, lessons learned. But the air is very thin in my role. Like it really is, because there's so much that I take on. So I'm the chief executive officer of about a $2 million nonprofit organization, which is not a corporation per se, but it's a decent sized business. We run it like a business. So there are still things that I can't disclose to staff. I have to make sure that I'm future casting, future proofing. I'm always thinking about 5 years down the road. And a lot of those require strategy and thoughts in my head that I'm not sitting around talking with the staff about. And sometimes it has to do with like realigning departments and moving people in and out of jobs. And so I'm not sure your staff is ever in my type of role. I'm not sure staff is ever really knowledgeable about how much is living in your head at all times. It's true. You go to bed worried about things. You go to bed thinking about things. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking about things. And that's different than a job. So it is just a very, very dynamic difference. And so you have to figure out who are your tribe members to help you. And they're not, so they're the people who you are confidential with. Who do you confide with? Who do you trust? Who do you have these conversations with? And it's not your staff. Like it can't be. It can be with certain things because you're working on projects together. You're leading the vision of the organization with them. But there are certain things that have to be between you and the kitchen sink. And so you have to implement certain things in your life in order to be successful, like a professional coach, like a group of tribe members who are maybe that have your title that you meet for lunch with on a regular basis, or coffee, or have a dialogue with on like an online chat. But you have to have a way to have that as an outlet, or it can be very consuming.
You were the one that actually taught me that about being on a different or on boards, getting yourself either on a board or involved in a group like the Outlier Project. I interviewed Scott a few weeks ago, and that was awesome. He's the founder of the Outlier Project. But having something like that, because you can collaborate with your staff, but you cannot cooperate with your staff, if that's the correct word for that. So
You're so right. And it doesn't mean that they're not qualified or they're not, excuse me, or they're not good enough. It just is the way that the organization is structured is for you to kind of be the tip of the spear. And so it should be you making those decisions based on the tribe around you. And to get to some of those decisions, you have to have people outside of your space helping you think through the very hard things, because something, for example, like the Outliers, Aspen Institute, Leadership Women, there are different people in different industries that help you think about things from totally opposite perspectives. So the way that I think is from the lens that I see the world, my lived experiences, things in which I have been a part of, groups, that knowledge, things that I've gained. But I don't have anything in common with an engineer. Nothing. Nothing. Not personality, not knowledge, not education. And that's just one example of, wouldn't it be great to be able to hear someone else's perspective from a direction that you would have to have a brain transplant to understand their
oh
perspective.
yeah.
And I love that. And I think that so many people don't realize how critically important that is, to make sure that you are fed and filled with other perspectives all the time, because it helps you from thinking you have it all figured out. I mean, I think that we can all feel like, I got it. I've been in this industry for 20 years. No, you don't got it. The world
Yeah.
is changing on a daily basis. One of my board members sent me an AI generated grant last week. And I was like, oh, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I had kind of poo-pooed the concept of AI generation in grant writing. And it gave me, the suggestion that he gave me 4 or 5 foundations that would fund whatever idea. And he just put something kind of silly in, but it opened my eyes to all the possibilities. And the reason I kind of poo-pooed the concept of having AI write grants for me is because I have a big ego when it comes to grants. I used to teach grant writing. I used to be an instructor for the Sanford Philanthropy Institute. Like, I thought, oh, I know grants, but I did not know what he sent me. And it's like the oxygen got sucked out of the room. And I thought, I need to not be so much of a subject matter expert and really lean into the things that I don't know, because it's not only going to help me be effective from a time perspective, but it will also show me what my peers across the world are doing in this space, which clearly is not where I am right now. And so I think it's very, very important to make sure that you never feel like you've mastered anything. You need others around you to help look and feel things that are very, very different than what you would expect.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great piece of advice. And I need to intro you now. I need to do a little, just give some kind of background on to your extensive experience. However, I feel like I only really hit 2 key parts of your experience in this intro. So feel free to insert just some of your different backgrounds, some of the different things that you have experienced, because you have done a lot for a lot of different organizations, a lot of different sectors, a lot of different backgrounds. So Staci does in fact know what she's talking about. Whenever she says that you don't know what you're talking about, she's very correct. She's have a lot of experience to back that up. So Staci, she is a distinguished leader in the nonprofit sector, obviously. She's currently serving as the CEO of Hill Country Family Services, which I'll abbreviate as HCFS if I don't stutter all over that one, in Bernie, Texas. So back where I used to live before I moved out to Virginia. That is where I met Staci. So since 2018, she has guided HCFS in developing innovative programs that addresses critical community needs, including mental health support, addiction recovery, homelessness, Her leadership has received significant recognition, with HCFS being the Greater Bernie of Chambers Nonprofit of the Year in 2020, and Staci herself received the Businesswoman of the Year award in 2021. But before that, Staci held a position of Regional Director of Philanthropy at the First Tee National Headquarters, for you golfers out there. In this role, she collaborated with President George W. Bush and PGA Tour Commissioner, always butcher his last name, Tim Finchman, focusing on major gift cultivation and stewardship efforts aimed at empowering youth through golf. So that's just two things that you've done. We have spent so much time over coffee just going into your background, but I want you to kind of dive a little bit more into the things that you've done, because all of that shapes what works and what fails, and can really help to really shape this show where we're talking about fixing broken systems. So, did I hit about 20% of your background there?
Yes, absolutely. And I think if I could, like, in such a succinct way, talk about who I am, is that I'm a lifelong learner. And if you could have screwed it up, I'm poster child A. I left my high school on a float. I was like, did everything in high school. I got to college and fell flat on my face, like a lot of people, where you realize you come from a small place and then you go to these massive universities and you realize you're one of 50,000 really cool people. And I thought that getting married was like the most brilliant idea I'd ever had in my entire. I'm like, let's just add that to the mix, right? And so when
In
college,
college.
yeah, college was hard, so like, let's just get married. And so then I had a baby who she was born very ill, and so I spent the next 25 years of my life trying to navigate being a college student and graduating from college and moving across the country.
Stand by. My signal is still clocking. We'll see what happened to Staci here. She was getting into a good story. Hopefully that's not just on my end. While Staci comes back, I will. Oh, there she is. Possibly. No. The story that Staci is getting into, I actually met with Staci a few years back over coffee, living in San Antonio at the time, still owning Cralo Socials. She was still with HCFS, and she dove into her story. And that was one of the reasons that I really wanted to have her on the show, because her entire background is so captivating, filled with a lot of challenges. And obviously, we all have significant challenges in our personal life, which do bleed into business, and vice versa, business challenges that can immensely bleed into our personal life. And Staci has really had such a good outlook, such a good mindset on all of the different challenges and things that have gone on throughout her career and through her life as a whole. And she's actually been able to, I would say, effectively blend the two without blending them. So she's got such a unique perspective. We are going to troubleshoot this, and if you are watching, stand by. We will be right back. Alrighty, I think we're back.
Back. I'm so sorry. So who else has companies trying to loan them $85,000. I get 5 calls a day from different people all around the world, and it's always $85,000. So somebody was
Really?
calling me trying to offer me this amazing once in a lifetime deal, and it kicked me off of the call. So I'm so sorry.
It is okay. I'm
I did
like,
not take
"Man."
the $85,000. Just keeping it real there.
I feel like a lot of people would. All right, we are good. We're good to go. We're rolling
I
again.
can't hear you.
Oh, that's not good.
I can't hear you.
Hmm.
And we were doing so good.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Awesome. All right. I think we're done with the technical difficulties for today. So, you were talking about, and I kind of like subbed in there for a little bit whenever I realized that we had lost you, and I just told people that how I had met you at coffee, and you had a really impressive story that really not only shaped your personal life, but just shaped how you approach business, and you've been able to take experiences from both and just be a better business leader, be a better person. And still, that's not good. We're having all kinds of technical difficulties today. Let's see. Alrighty. Can you hear me? Huh. Hello? Oh my goodness. Hello, hello. Okay. Can you hear me? No. Can you hear me? No. No? You can't hear me?
I can't hear you.
No. Well, we can hear. That is so
I can hear.
interesting. You can hear what? Oh my goodness. We are all kinds of. Well. We might have to go off
Can
live.
you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. I can't hear you.
We're going to cut it and then I'll call you.